Those are all different attachments to make different kind of stitches. Welcome back, guys and girls, to Dad's Toy Garage. And we got a very big multi-part series here. I'm going to be completely scratch building this trunk, everything in it, and I'm going to be learning to sew. So if you want to know how to build a custom trunk, follow along with me. We're going to learn it together and you can get something like this. So let's get started. So guys, I want to learn a new skill, and I want to learn to do some of my own upholstery work because I love watching the guys do this stuff. It looks like a skill that would be fun to have. I want to be able to do some of my own work. So I did pick up this sewing machine. It was actually, the guy said it was his brother's machine. It was an elderly gentleman, and he worked for a company called Pallister, and they built housing furniture, upholstery type stuff. So I want to try doing some door panel type things and that type of thing. So we'll give it a shot down the road, but this is one of the new tools for the shop. So the lumberyard would not sell a partial sheet, so I'm stuck with a really big sheet of 1/2 inch MDF. And then we got our carpet in here for the trunk and prototype CAD prototype material, which is just an oven box from the local furniture store. So let me explain what I'm talking about here. The spare tire well is here. It's a little open on the side there. I need to make an access point here so that I can still access the jack. So we'll be hinging this corner, and then I'll be hinging a flap that lifts up here. Probably run the hinge about here in this spot. And yeah, we'll start with that. I'm going to make the cardboard outline and we'll go from there. So we're building a trunk liner for the car, right? And are you doing some artwork on it? Cool. What are you making?
A monster.
Oh, and did you make a little guy? Is he scared of the monster? This guy here? Yeah. It was that you should put a smile on it to make it a friendly monster.
I don't know how to.
You just do a thing like this. That makes a smile. Nice, that's perfect. Yeah, can I see the monster? Oh, nice. Good job, good drawing. For my CAD process, the cardboard aided design, I initially cut this corner out of here, which is this guy. So, yes, I got nice handwriting. That's the fender well. So A lines up with A and B with B right on the lines, and you know you're squared. I wasn't sure exactly how I was going to get this corner to work, but now what I've done is masking taped it on to get pretty close profile. Then I'm going to pull this out of the car, stick this back in place. Then I'll cut, the tape will be sticking to this piece, so I'll just cut that radius into there. And I've also had to upgrade a little bit on the design here at this point. So I added a bit here for strength because I had to take more away here. So initially it went here. So you just tape it on and then you cut it kind of thing. And this is not meant to be the permanent thing. This is just the template. So it's like fit, cut, trim, fit, cut, trim till we get what we need. And this door opens up and there will be a spare tire in there. Initially I was just going to do a carpet liner. I could go that way. Part of me really wants to finish this trunk out, meaning a nice panel here, close out side panels and back panel with matching to the door panels inside the car. That may happen. So this may be built up one layer so that I may have to bring the hinge here. So this may be a little bit of a taller piece. And then this would hinge at this point even with the battery. So that means the floor has to come up a little bit so that we can open the flap, have the tire come out. Because right now it just clears how I've designed it. You can see it's pretty close there. Any further back and you wouldn't be able to get the spare tire out. So a little bit of spacer might be required. We'll see where that ends up. Here's where my pattern is at right now. There'll be a hinged door, either it'll hinge up this way. I think it would make more sense to have it hinged this way to get at the jack equipment in there. I would ideally like to find a jack that fits under the spare tire. I don't know if that exists. Yeah, that's where we're at. This piece here I've now got to fit nice and snug, so it removes along this line here and then it comes out. So I may use this as a like a base for the upper level. I would like to keep as much trunk space as possible, but like I said, I'm not sure how it's going to work when I do the closeout panels in the rest of the trunk. Just started thinking, I got this much room here. I can make a compartment here, and inside the compartment I would keep my detailing equipment for car shows. So that's another thought. So detail, a battery door here, access point, and then here probably won't be any storage beyond the jack. So and the lawn chairs and stuff or whatever, need those for car show, right? We'll sit here. And yes, I'll take it to the store and get groceries. It's not invincible. It can go do fun things wherever I go. So I picked up this roll from Canadian Tire. It's actually just a protective rubber mat for under a barbecue. But it's got this kind of texture on both sides. There you can see what it is, but it's just meant to go underneath your barbecue. So 25 bucks Canadian Tire. My thought is, let's take this because it's exactly the right width to go across and probably more length than we need, or very close to what we need. And I can put it underneath the MDF board when I get it. Keeps it rattling down, keeps it in place, and kind of protects the metal and paint from rubbing through as this thing moves around. I'm hoping it doesn't, but if it does, then we got some protection under there. So it'll get cut up, made to shape. Maybe I'll throw a little bit of a round piece on the bottom of the spare tire well and protect that as well from rubbing through if you got to pull the tire in and out a couple times. So there we go. So I've got my trunk template laid out here. I'm going to trace that design onto the board, and it's a 1/2 inch MDF. So we'll get going on that and we'll cut it out with a jigsaw. Trunk pattern traced out. I'm going to cut it now, and then we'll probably have to do more shimming and test fitting after that. Alright guys, I'm going to cut this out. Let's hit the time lapse. Let's get her done. Alright guys, girls, I got the shape made here. Let's turn it up so you can have a look at it. I'm going to cut the center out yet, but I'm thinking what should happen is I should overlay this rubber on there, trim it out, then I have something that'll fit the right shape in the trunk of the car. So this is what I want to put underneath here to help prevent rattling, and it shouldn't slide around, but just to make sure it doesn't slide around, this stuff grips pretty good. So I might make this little corner piece. We'll get back to you, then we'll lay it out on my table and we'll cut this to shape. This will make up my trunk floor. I'm going to hinge it over here. This will hopefully be the underlay for it. Nice rubber piece that we cut apart. This originally was a barbecue mat, but it's got a lot of grip, so I think it'll be really useful in this situation. So I'm going to test fit now. Piano hinge is screwed onto the spare tire cover. It's going to open up nicely. Got a little finger pull there. So I want to throw that in the car. I think it should work really well. Trunk floor is laid out. It's a 4-piece. Got one in the corner here. Then we got the front cap end here, and then we got the back, and it's hinged. Lots of room to get to the spare tire. So now we can start working off of here. I think the first thing I'll do is build the back panel. And my thought is it's going to come flush with probably just on this side of the battery. So it'll come across here. It'll have a removable section here so that I can pull the spare tire out when needed. I think a removable section for the battery so I can get to it, disconnect it for wintertime. And like we talked about later, we're going to be throwing a cubby in here, compartment. And this will be a quick removable piece too. So what I'm going to do is build a framework out of the 1/2-inch MDF that'll screw into place, and then all the trim boards can screw to that. So that'll be the next order of things on this build. I bought these at the hardware store. So they are metal braces to keep everything tight back together where I had to cut it. It's all getting covered with carpet, so it'll be fine. You won't be able to see it very easily, but I've braced it up. There's a couple spots because the trunk kind of does this in the middle, so it's got to be braced a little bit. So here's one, for example, that's being held down, glue is drying. I've done a little bit in here, and one strip over there. If you look closely, you can kind of see where it is. So nice and tight. This will rattle a bit because I need a little rubber in that corner. But once it's there, it'll be fine.